Welcome, everybody, to the half. Today is Tuesday, January 31st. Today's show is going to be a shorter show, just a couple of things to hit on today. It'll be a pretty quick show, less than 30 minutes that you normally know. The first topic is Vegas. The Raiders have put in, as I reported last week, they did put in the paperwork to move the team to Las Vegas. They put in the official request, and then an official notice today from from the individuals that were invested into the Raiders, particularly Adelson, the casino mogul, decided to back out, and they try to get a hold of Goldman Sachs to make sure that they were still going to back the stadium. And evidently they learned today it's a package deal. Adelson and Goldman Sachs was a package deal worth $650 million towards that stadium. Now the Raiders ownership, they're in $500 million to that stadium. The local municipalities are in $750 million to that stadium. So they're going to have to find that about a third more from somewhere else. I don't think that it's going to be too big of an issue with the financing part. They'll find somebody to buy into real estate in Vegas. I don't think that's going to be a too tremendously difficult issue. But that deal, I mean, a lot of people are putting it, the deal's falling apart. The other side that is, they're going to have to be kind of pushing towards, they need to get 24 out of 32 owners to back the move to Las Vegas. Now, some owners aren't too thrilled with them moving to Vegas. Some owners have come out and have been in the limelight saying that they think it's unethical, or they think that there's a conflict of interest being in Vegas. I don't see the same conflict of interest as they do. I don't think that them having gambling there is such an issue. I mean, they have gambling in most major cities. Atlanta has it in a pretty big way, right in around there. New Jersey, not too far from the stadiums, has it. New York has it in a much less capacity. They've been kind of stringent on it. Nothing like Las Vegas, but again, to a certain extent, other cities don't get the same tourism as Las Vegas. They've estimated it was 15,000 people per weekend, something like that. 15,000 people per weekend that they would be able to haul into Las Vegas from visiting teams, from regular, people that are visiting there that could hop on, pick up some tickets to an NFL game. It's not all having to draw from the Las Vegas area. A lot of tourism would be able to make up a lot of the ticket sales. Obviously, in those situations, when you have a professional franchise, 2/3 of the ticket sales should be corporate ticket sales anyways. So again, Adelson and Goldman Sachs was a big part of making sure to sustain the vitality of the to-be Las Vegas Raiders. So we still have to see that. Now, Ronnie Lott over in Oakland with his East Bay effort, he's still continuing trying to raise funds, and he said he will still continue to try to raise funds for a $1.25 million stadium to be built there in the East Bay. So it's going to be interesting to see which direction that they ultimately end up going. I know that they haven't been too happy with Oakland. Oakland hasn't done a very good job of wanting to show appreciation to its teams. Teams cities shouldn't have to necessarily buy these stadiums for these franchises. I like when they chip in and they find ways to make it work for the franchises in some way, get some sort of funding to help out. Um, but as an owner, I just don't understand. Like, if you have an option to purchase real estate in a substantially sized market like Vegas, like Oakland, Silicon Valley's there. You're going to be closer to Silicon Valley maybe than the 49ers will. Maybe you build something that draws people still from that side of the bay. I think there's viable options for these franchises. Owning real estate is hardly ever a bad thing. Even if the pro franchises, they lock it in 15, 20 years, something like that. We have an awesome guest on this evening, Eric Edelstein. He's the president of the Reno Aces, minor league baseball. They're affiliated with the Royals, and they also have a United Soccer League team. I think they're 1868 FC. I think that's what it's called. But that'll be on tonight on the Cold Hard Truth on Sports. So be sure to tune into that. You can watch right here on Blog Talk, live on Spreaker, or here on YouTube on Blog Talk or on Spreaker. The podcast version of the show will be available on iTunes, Somo, of course, SoundCloud, and we'll have it over on thechtonsports.com. So be sure to go over there, thechtonsports.com, the listen link, and follow us, the show here on Twitter at 2.5. Again, you can always reach me at Matt Long Sports in any of those regards. So I'll ask him a little bit about that because he's had experience with these sort of negotiations. So I look forward to having him on later this evening on the Cold Hard Truth on Sports with my co-host Kevin Kress. So that'll be later this evening. But I think there's some viable options here. I don't think finding that third is going to be a huge problem for an NFL franchise. So where there's a will, there's a way. I think they will be able to work into that. All right. So I'm going to move on to the next topic. It's coming from our show on Tuesday, and the website. We have something called the SportsBlotter. It's pretty much players and people in and around the sports world that's been arrested or suspended or gotten to some sort of shenanigans. Today, it's one incoming college football player and one that has former college football player that have been arrested or cited. The first of which was pretty tragic. It's a kid from a smaller school in Tennessee. He played for Maryville College. He was a wide receiver, young guy. William Riley Jall is his name. He was arrested back in November and charged, accused of stalking and murdering his ex-girlfriend, who was also subsequently a cheerleader. Evidently, there was a bad breakup. She moved on. He didn't so much. And the allegations are that he shot her through the wall while she slept at night. The gun he used was allegedly stolen from his grandfather, and he planned on disposing of it. They arrested him that next morning in his home and he was charged with several counts, including first-degree murder, especially aggravated stalking. It's really bad because the charge is called especially. It was especially aggravated stalking. Tampering with evidence, obviously, wanting to dispose of the gun, and employing a firearm during a dangerous felony. So those are the charges he's faced. He was set for an arraignment Monday, but it got moved back to February the 13th. His attorney hasn't commented. They haven't entered a plea, and yet, as far as his charges go, and all the family and people around are just saying that he just couldn't get over the breakup. Tragic situation there that just hopefully we always hope things like this could enter, go in a different direction. This is why it's so important. If you are feeling hurt or damaged or upset or sad or mad, that you seek help for it. See a psychologist. If you're a student, go to your campus student psychologist. It doesn't cost any money. From what I know, colleges aren't charging you money to go see them because of that stuff. It should be included in part of you being a student there, a benefit of being a student. Some change. Again, I don't hold me to it. It might change from college to college, but from what I know, they don't charge for that. And all insurances, for the most part, I know, include psychology and psychiatry in with insurance coverage. So go get help. This is one of those situations where obviously he was in a situation, he needed help. He wasn't able to deal with his feelings an appropriate way and manifested, and the outcome was even worse. Now another life is lost. So I'll keep an eye on that story. I'll probably see more on that in the coming weeks. The one that's probably been the most publicized in early January on an official visit to Ohio State, 4-star recruit James Robinson was cited for a misdemeanor possession of marijuana, which pretty much ended his recruitment from Ohio State. Now, the statement here says that, from what I've understood, is there are other Ohio State players that were there, but he was the only one that was cited. Florida State, and kind of the breaking news part of it, University of Florida, the Gators, were still pursuing Robinson all the way up through Sunday. Monday, the administrative staff put a kibosh to it and decided to pull out of recruiting him. He's a kid that he's from Lakeland, and he was leaning towards tomorrow, which is National Signing Day. He was leaning towards going to Florida. So Ohio State, Florida is now out the window. We're a day away. There's been several stories this year. Maybe it's just because it's more publicized now because the media is more readily available. Guys that are just here towards National Signing Day, just, now scrambling. It happens every single year. A kid from USF, he ended up getting, they just ran out of scholarships, so they couldn't honor his. Similar situation happened down at FAU with a kid from Dr. Phillips, a wide receiver from Dr. Phillips. The guy that was recruiting him was on as part of the transition, and then he wasn't, and then they kind of dragged their feet getting back to him, and that was kind of the end of it. he was out and scrambling to find, a backup. This is where, this is a particular time where I think that HBCUs and some of the smaller schools really need to be up on it. You got a 4-star guy that's now 2 days before National Signing Day, looking for a school. So, it's tough to say. Most teams have tried to fill out their roster, and by now, they're available scholarships. But these are a few situations where these smaller schools should really step up and get these guys. That's why I wonder, like a guy like Zay Jones ends up at East Carolina. I'm seeing people saying third round grade on him. Are you sick? The guy was their offense, basically. Guy has stickum on his hands. He's tall. He has speed, hands, body control. Like, I don't know. There must be something I'm missing. But we'll get more on that when we get into the draft, to the NFL draft, combine, stuff like that here within the next few weeks or so. So, again, today is a shorter episode. We're going to be cutting here pretty soon. So again, like I said, go to the website, thechtonsports.com. Follow the show here, To the Half, at To the Half. Subscribe to the channel. You will see the cold hard truth on sports on this channel. Any content I put up from the website, I put up here. We're still constructing the cold hard truth on sports YouTube channel. So they'll be up and available once we're done constructing those things. Again, you can always follow me at Matt Long Sports. But for now, I'm out. Be sure to listen to the show tonight, the Cold Hard Truth on Sports, with my co-host Kevin Crest. That's out. Peace.